Today's creative world is entertainment.
So, what were the challenges to reaching out to your dream career now?
The challenge always is to, number one, to make myself clear, well, what exactly are you doing? Why is this valuable? How much does it cost? And also to be able to demonstrate, to prove that what I'm thinking about is the right way to go. These are big companies. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on their movies and their video games. So I need to be right. So the big challenge is to study very closely what the meaning is behind these stories that are being told. What is the message? What is the thing about the story that makes me feel good to enjoy it? And when I understand that, then I can communicate it back to the company, but also all the licensees, all the different companies that are creating content connected to the big entertainment property.
I see. And then you also mentioned that you were from Hawaii, where there's a big Japanese culture there. And I've read that you're a very big fan of Japanese anime and culture. And now you're the producer of Ultraman Connection. How does it feel to be living the dream, basically?
It's so amazing, so amazing. I come from small beginnings. Before Hawaii, I lived in New York City. We didn't have much money at all. It was a rough neighborhood. It was a difficult life. To be able to find my way, to work with Subaraya company, the company that makes Ultraman, but also the man, Eiji Subaraya, created Godzilla, created all these kaiju and wonderful films that I loved so much as a child. Now I get to work closely with the people behind Ultraman and to help them introduce Ultraman to the United States and to the rest of the world. And in doing so, I must work very intimately with all aspects of the Ultraman production. So I've gotten to be with the suit actors, who are in the costumes, the kaiju, the stage shows, the productions. It's just amazing, more than I could have ever dreamed. And at the same time, I am proof that anybody watching this who works hard enough and understands close enough how stories work and how stories are told across different media can have this kind of job.
I see that you're very passionate about Ultraman, but are your kind of favorite projects the ones that are especially reminiscent of your childhood?
Yes. They are. To escape a difficult life, I had a very big imagination. So I dreamed of all kinds of stories, and those stories were big and rich, and they were very long because I wanted to stay in the story world for as long as possible. But also they featured characters who had to figure things out, It wasn't just about the superhero beating up the villain. It wasn't about the Ultraman fighting the evil kaiju. It was about how we can fix these worlds which are troubled, if there's a lot of chaos and a lot of problems, what are the ways to fix these things? How can we stop fighting? That's what I looked for. And so the characters that inspired me when I was young, I try to work them into the stories that I tell today.
I see. So if you could, what do you want to speak to younger yourself?
Oh. I would tell him that it's going to be all right, that he doesn't have to be afraid. I would tell him that what he thinks is just a small space around him, and that he needs to think further out because more things are possible than he can imagine. And he needs to reach for those, find ways to go past the prison bars of his reality into a greater reality.
I see. And then you talked about how storytelling can kind of save a world from chaos. Do you think in your troubled times, your comics or whatever you were reading and the entertainment kind of saved you from that kind of chaos in your own life?
Yes. The greatest stories, my friends, are the ones that teach us how to learn to pull ourselves out of chaos, to pull ourselves out of difficult times, but also then to take action to do that so that we don't get stuck in these situations. So to learn and then to take action, to learn to take action. Star Trek did that for me. Gandalf and the Lord of the Rings did that for me. Sherlock Holmes did that for me, Star Wars, all these wonderful stories gave me little pieces of wisdom that allowed me to climb. And that's so important to infuse into the stories we tell today.
Thank you so much for that. I'd just like to move on. You kind of mentioned all of these works like Sherlock Holmes, and then you also mentioned a lot of other works that you're working on. So is there anything or somebody or something that you are inspired by in your narratives?
Wow. So, of course, all those characters were wonderful, but I'll tell you what was really so meaningful to me. As I got older, I realized that the world was getting a little bit better, but it was slow. It was not getting better fast enough for me. There were too many people who were not climbing out of poverty or violence. And so I dedicated myself maybe to teaching these young people more. And so at first I thought, well, I'm helping them. I'm helping these students. And sometimes the fans of my work, I would get in touch with the fans and talk to them and try to help them. But then I learned so much from my students and the fans. They're so creative, so filled with imagination that I couldn't even imagine, So if you look at my work and the way that I do my work today, it is inspired by my students and my fans. If you look at what they are doing across social media, they're telling stories, even if it's a little TikTok or YouTube video or a beautiful drawing or painting, it's magnificent. And so I allow myself every day to be inspired by them and for their work to inform my work.
So, what advice would you give to young people, especially who would like to entering the entertainment industry, specialized like storytellers and artists?
It's so important for you to understand that you must finish your work. If you don't finish your creative work, then there's no proof you can do anything. Even if the work is flawed, even if it's no good, when you finish it, you will feel good. And then you can start something new, which will benefit from your experience previous, right? So I didn't start drawing or writing or telling great stories when I was a very little kid. It was okay, but it wasn't great. But I learned every single time that I did these works to improve, to make it better. Okay, so the first lesson is finish it. The second lesson is you need to show people. When I was young, it was difficult to do that. Maybe a teacher, maybe a family friend, that's it. Today, it's so easy to share your creativity with others because of social media. And so you need to put it out there, and you need to talk to the people that are looking at your work, have conversation about the work, even if it hurts a little, because not everybody's going to like it. But you have to be brave. You have to be brave and let them comment on it and learn from some of the things that they say, which might not be so positive, but also feel good when they like what you have done. When you combine those two things, then it's easy to get more noticed. I look for new talent, and so many other people need to find new talent out there on the internet, and we cannot find you if you're not there. So be there.
That's great advice. Thank you so much for that. So I'd just like to ask, recently I've been reading, I don't know if you've heard, but Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, and I've also seen John Jennings also like kind of representation of that in his comic book. But I wanted to ask, how do you think it is with visual representation, how it can tell an entire narrative, sometimes even different from what literary text can tell us?
It's true. Look, I love literature. That was the first medium that captured my imagination. So I had the patience and the time to read many thousands of pages of literature. And it was of great benefit to me because it helped me to speak better, and it helped me to write better by learning about how to phrase things and how to create powerful sentences and things like that. The visual media are also very powerful because they are able to convey so many millions of pieces of information into your eyes and into your brain. And the immediacy of that communication equals emotion. So that is the extraordinarily powerful. It's how we can watch a 2-hour movie and feel that someone has crossed an entire continent and fallen in love and done battle and reconciled with people that they're having difficulties with. And that is because the visual information is making our emotions, carrying us through the story, on an emotional basis. So that's really, to me, the distinction. It does not negate literature and beautiful writing, which I think is still very, very important. But it is a very complementary and wonderful addition to the media canon.
So you would say it doesn't kind of take over each other, they're complementary together, right?
They are complementary, absolutely.
I see, thank you so much. I'd just like to ask you this very last question to close it off. The title of this show is Creative World, as you may know, but what does the word creative mean to you?
The word creative, to me, means actualization. Actualization. That's right.
With the hands.
That's right. With the hands.
With the hands.
And here's why. You know, every human being in this world is creative. everyone dreams, everyone can fantasize, everyone can look at their favorite TV show or read their favorite book and think about what else is out there, what other stories can be told in that universe. The difference between that and creativity is the ability to produce, the ability to manifest what's in your mind in reality, even if it's to type some words into ChatGPT or you know, Midsummer or whatever, you know, to draw, to create a TikTok, you know, or to tell a story with just your voice. And there are just some other people sitting around to listen to it. That is actualization of the creative impulse. And that to me is creativity.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much
for joining us
Oh.
today. I hope you had fun.
Your questions were so good. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful program.
This episode will be available on YouTube this coming Saturday. For details, please check out our Facebook page. Next, more exciting materials to show you all.
Tradition is tasted, resplendent with grain. Sips of time slip through light. I'd hold this taste to feel forever. It pours a century of wisdom. It pours a generation of legacy. Sourced from a sacred mountain, it rises. How many ways can this taste dazzle in days? This taste lives forever.
Next,
Let's jam with
Yoyoka!
Hello, this is Yoyoka. Here is my video. Enjoy!
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Next, Godzilla alert!
Hello, this is Heisenberg.
Hey there, this is G Forever, and we got new Godzilla toys from the Godzilla store.
So Maru-san had a lot of stuff in the video because it's their 100th anniversary of Maru-san toys, and this is one of their 100th anniversary celebration figures. This Godzilla. What's cool about it is it's actually sculpted by the guy who makes the Gojiban puppets.
Oh wow, that's cool.
The Gojiban puppet show. It's like this is the same artist, and I guess this is actually the first figure that he's sculpted.
Oh, very neat, and it came out pretty nicely.
Oh yeah. And then, but then there's a whole bunch of new Maru-san figures that we're gonna see. I think there's quite a bit at once. I guess again probably for
the 100th anniversary.
Because of the 100th anniversary.
But here's Gigan again in the I guess Final Wars colors, or a hybrid color. It has classic gold and blue, but with the Final Wars red.
Yeah, that one's pretty big too, and here's a smaller version of it.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I think they had Maru-san started making like these mini figures. I noticed. So.
Oh yeah, there's more. And here's another.
Here's Godzilla. I believe that's the 89.
Yeah, and then Maru-san, it's like I've never gotten into collecting these like Sofubis because it's like, my word, they're not cheap. Yeah, they're not cheap.
They are pricey.
Yeah, they're not easy to get. Maybe this one glows a little bit.
Does this glow in the dark? Yeah, they were turning off
trying.
the lights.
Looks like they're trying to see if it glows.
They're doing something.
But it's like I'd rather if they were like at Target for Playmates prices, then sure it would be fun to buy these things. But
yeah, these are neat. But with the high prices, like with so much out there these days, I personally go with the more like detailed and movie accuracy. But everyone has their own taste. Like some folks might like these artistic takes, which is really neat. But they do cost a lot. I think a starting point is at least 150 or 120 and above.
Yeah,
like
so I've found. I mean, there's been a few rare occasions where there's like ones come along that's not quite as expensive. So I own a few. These.
Yeah, I started to. I wasn't collecting Maru-san in the past, but with the Godzilla store and making it a lot easier, like to access these things, I started getting I think Heisenberg, I got the Gigan from you, and then I got a Mecha Godzilla and a few of the Hedoras.
This is Heisenberg
and G Forever. Hope you enjoy the Godzilla store exclusives.
We hope you enjoy the show. We will continue to introduce successful people from various fields, as well as supporting young up-and-coming talents who are passionate and dedicated to advancing their careers in their industries. Don't forget to tune in. Until then, you have a wonderful week. See you next time.
Let's see who our guest is on the next episode.
Hi, I'm Joseph from Libera. Thank you for tuning in to Creative World. Bye!
See you next week. Bye!
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please check out our social media sites at CWTV Hollywood.